Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Marydee Sklar, and I am the author of a program called Seeing My Time. And it's a program that teaches the executive skills of time management, planning, and organization. And it was a program that I put together over 15 years, and I published it about 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago now. And the program was designed as a workbook, and it was designed originally to be used in more of a one-on-one setting, more of a therapeutic setting. I was thinking of tutors using it, or educational therapists, some different types of therapists intervening with people who had trouble with executive functioning, either in small groups or family units. But along the way, educators became interested in this. And I am an educator by background. I used to be a reading specialist, and I always tell people in a galaxy far, far away I was in a classroom. But as educators got involved with it, I was thinking, well, this isn't designed for you guys. How is it going to work? And so there's a lot of people on the call today. We're very excited about all the people who are on the call. Many of you have done some training with me to learn about Seeing My Time. Others, welcome. And what we're here today is because Gaila and Savery took my pro training class and then put it into her school with Kate. Kate is the 6th grade classroom teacher. And Gaila, I asked Gaila who she is and what her role is at the school, and she said she was the jack of all trades at the school. That means that she's the indispensable one, okay? She's the one who, she's in the reading room, in the reading team, and she just does all things wonderful, I'm sure. I would love to have you in my back door, and my, Gaila, you'd be a great person to have in my pocket. So let me tell you now how I got them here. So what really made me realize that Gaila was doing a great job, I would bump into her, or she would email me and say it was going well, but what really got me excited was that her classroom, Kate's classroom, invited me to come and visit as the author of their Seeing My Time book. Actually, they're co-author. And so this is the group. Let me go into screen share here and show you, because this was so motivating. Okay, oops, we got to go into here. Let's go into here to share. Okay, so this is what motivated me, you guys. Aren't they adorable? Okay, and this is our 6th grade class, and they wrote a bunch of questions for me. They submitted questions, and I came and talked about Seeing My Time, how I created it, and my background. And you'll notice I'm actually, or you may not notice, I'm actually in this picture, which means that I am the size of a typical 6th grader. You can hardly see me back there. And it was St. Patrick's Day. But the other thing I want you to notice up on the right-hand side there above the whiteboard is a big, really cool cartoon picture that says metacognition, thinking about your thinking. And the kids had asked such great questions. I had such a good time that I left them with questions because I was curious about their experience. What did they think about doing Seeing My Time? And Gaila sent me this whole packet of all these responses, and the kids did such a beautiful job. I was just tearing my hair out last night trying to take the best. There was no such thing as the best. I wanted to, spend the whole hour reading their evaluations, but I'm going to share a couple of them with you. How has the course changed the way you feel about yourself? I can feel like I will be on time and I will have no piles anymore in my head. Isn't that great? Feeling organized, no piles in your head. Another one answered that question, how does it help you with school? Seeing My Time has helped me with school because now I don't get as stressed about homework and other projects. Even just the breathing and relaxation tips helped me a lot. Wow, you guys, anxiety is on the rise in our children starting in that middle school. Another one of the children made comments about how she was scared of middle school, but now that she was able to be organized, it wasn't scary anymore. So this is helping in ways that are not just time management, planning, and organization. And here's the next one is, how has the Seeing My Time course helped you with school? Let's see, so what that is first, he says, let's see, should change that around. I've got a little fix here. Is that going to work better? Okay, sorry, we had a little glitch here. How has it helped? Let's see, we're going to be on the next one here. Oh, I've started projects on time when I first get them, not until the last minute. I mean, that's what every teacher wants, every parent wants their kids to do. And then this one really touched my heart, because I can tell by this young man's handwriting that school is a challenge for him and his spelling. But look what he said. He said, "I now know how to keep my papers organized. I feel better about myself that now I've been getting good grades with help in this course." So these were just some of the things that tugged my heart, Gaila and Kate, and I want to know how you did it. Okay, so that's going to be, you know, the big thing for me is I want you to share just what did you do, because this is the cover of the book that we went through, and I want to know how you did it. How did you make this whole thing happen? So let me get out of the screen share, and we'll start some questions. Okay. So, Gaila, I have a question for you for starters, and that is, how did you get Seeing My Time into your school? What was the process that you went through to bring this new curriculum into the school? Because school hours are really valuable, and it's hard to get new things into curriculum. So, tell us how you did it, please.
Well, it was a long process. We started a couple of years ago when our learning specialist went to a meeting and saw Marydee speak. Marydee then came to school and did a mini training for our faculty on executive functioning. After that, I was intrigued. I went and saw Marydee do a planning backwards at Jesuit. It was wonderful. So we kept seeing little things, little things. A majority of the staff attended a brain conference at Jesuit and was really jazzed after listening to John Medina, Brain Rules, and seeing, yeah, and seeing, you know, lots of workshops focused on executive functioning. The staff decided that it was something that we really needed to, as an entire faculty, embrace and think about how we can implement it, how we can be more cognizant and intentionally teach it. So we looked around for a book study. Marydee gave some ideas. We looked around and we came across and used Boosting Executive Skills from Cooper Kahn. And we did it over a few months. People would read, come at the faculty meeting, talk about it, share. That was like the first impetus of it really coming in. Then I took Marydee's course, which was exactly what we needed at that time. So we've done all sorts of things with the book study as far as sharing with parents. We've done newsletters, bulletin boards. We had Marydee come out and do a talk for the parents with her book, The 50 Tips, which was our next book study. And that one really got parents excited. This year at fall conferences, the book was used a lot and referenced a lot. It was on the desk. Kate and the middle school team actually had examples on their dry erase boards of what a dry erase board should look like at home and how to use it. So those are all the things that kind of came together. And Kate is back in the classroom this year. She had been our library and media specialist, was really excited about all of this stuff. And I said, well, wouldn't it be fun if we could figure out a way to get this into the classroom? She goes, yes, we have to do it. So we figured out a way to do it and got it into the classroom and had a ball.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, Kate, what was it been like for you to have this in the classroom?
Yeah, so it turned out to be once a week in the classroom, so it was built into my English block on Tuesday afternoons. And you know, it was so important for me to get it into the classroom because I really felt like there's this assumption that kids just should know how to do it. They know how to do it. But going through your training, I mean, we started back in 2013 when you first came to our school. That's 2 years ago. And all of those studies and all this time that we've been studying executive functioning, it needs to be explicitly taught. And across all ability levels, I think it's so important. And that was what was really neat to see in the classroom, the kids who struggled and really, really benefited from it, but the kids who maybe are higher functioning, but still benefit from it and took those tools and used them in their own way. And perfected things for their own learning.
Right. I was struck by that because one of your really sharp kids, his comment, like, oh, it's like his little list, but it was something like, "This has given me the power to believe that I can go forth and meet my goals and succeed." And it was something like that, This kid was like, "Ooh, I got this. I'm ready to roll." So it was,
yeah. But it was also, I think, important for our school. We've done the studies, the book studies. We heard you speak, for us to build that common language. So if we can create that in 6th grade, and our 7th and 8th grade, and our science specialists can use that same language, it was important to explicitly teach that to the kids.
Right. That's really wonderful. Okay, so let's see. So people want to know, so you fit it into your English program. How often did you teach it? Like, and for how long?
Once a week, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, that it was just using the course notebook and going through the course notebook. That was the intentional part of that. It was also Kate taught it throughout the day with the explicit language, and actually taking some of the tools from the book and modifying it for the projects they were doing within the class. So it was EF time, and then it was embedded in everything else throughout the day.
So you call it EF time? Is that what you did?
They call it EF. A funny story. Feedback from the kids that you got and we got. One of the things they told us was we didn't start soon enough. Because we didn't start the beginning of September because they were going to be at outdoor school, and we thought, we want to start. I go to outdoor school to visit, and that was the first thing they asked. Are we doing EF? Are we ready? Are we going to start now? So we did some games. Was kind of the spur of the moment, but that's what they referred to it as EF.
Yeah, they kind of came up with that on their own.
That's taking ownership for them. Yeah, that's great. So how long did it take you to get through it cover to cover?
Well, longer than it probably should have, because we didn't start until a little bit later, and Kate was out on medical leave from Thanksgiving until after the first of the year. She did not want us to go on. We had to stop,
be there.
which I thought was fantastic. So during that time, I just kind of winged it, and we just did some fun activities to reinforce the language, to make sure that they were staying on top of what we were doing. So we didn't finish until end of February.
End of February. So give me some examples of the fun activities, because this is what intrigues me. I know you're a creative teacher, but it's like, because when I do Sing My Time, people get worried about, like, I'm not following the book, well, that's not the kind of brain I have, and it's not the kind of person I am. It's just like, I want to give you the structure and then go and embellish. So what did you do, Gaila, that created these kids?
I started with, and I want to make sure that people hear this and can access this, because before we ever started the EF, I was doing just some research on the brain. I thought they really need to understand what the brain is, how it looks, and what the parts are. So I found Sentis Brain Animation, SENTIS. It's YouTube. And they had 2 videos, very short. One of them, the first one, was how the brain works. It talks about the neurons and all of the blasting and the things that are going on and the pathways. And the second one was areas of the brain. The 3 areas of the brain is all it showed. So we watched those, talked about the brain, talked about the prefrontal cortex, and we actually used model magic and made brains. That's what started the whole thing out before we did anything else. So that was the first one. We did some games. A lot of what EF is paying attention to things and observation and organization. I went to outdoor school and we played a game called 3 Things. So they would find a partner and look at the partner, make sure you understand the partner. Partner turns around and changes 3 pieces of appearance. Turn back around, can you find what they did? We did win, lose, or draw. So I took terms, not just the functions, but terms, E-train, metacognition, all the terms, threw them in a basket. They would pull them out and have to draw them and guess. The fun part about that one was every one of them was metacognition, metacognition. They're so into metacognition.
She took it out.
Yeah, I did. I said, nope, it's not in there. Stop guessing. We did, I have a bulletin board in the main hallway that I did. So I told them, they did posters. You choose. Draw something that you learned that would fit on this bulletin board so we could change it up. So they did posters.
Great.
The one that I think that was the most powerful was at the very end when we talk about being an advocate and how to be respectful and how to ask for help, whether it's with a parent, a peer, a teacher. And we sat in a circle and we role played. We literally role played. I had some that they drew from a hat. They had some ideas. And we spent a long time just doing that. I think those were the ones that stand out in my mind. I think one of the other things, just because it's me, if you can't tell, I get kind of excited and animated. And I did in the classes, some of the things were just over embellished and emotions exaggerated. Emotions took over, and I was mad about homework and yelling and throwing stuff and stomped out the door and slammed the door. And those kinds of things.
Yeah. You know, I think that I'm always telling, when I'm teaching the Pro 1 classes, I tell people, you got to be an actress. Yeah. You know, you got to put, even when I'm working with individual families, you know, I've got like 2 people sitting here. I'm an actress. I mean, you know, I am up ranting and raving and having them jump up and down when they say don't want to do, and you know, yeah. And so that's what is engaging, and what you're doing, of course, you realize this is you're activating their brains, and you know that storytelling, that acting, you're engaging them. So all those kids who have trouble with focus, you're getting the dopamine levels to rise just by all that wonderful energy that you bring to the room. So that's just really cool that you did that. So Kate, sounds like the kids have responded really well.
Yeah.
What did you do to build upon it? How did you extend it from the course thing?
Using that language, like we use it all the time. And I mean, just today we were prepping for our social studies test on Monday, and they're doing their study guide and filling out a note card, and everybody stopped, and I was like, all right, give me 3 EF functions you're using right now. And we just discussed that. And it's quick, you know, and then, okay, go back to work. Or the posters, that metacognition poster, but we have other posters.
Repeat to remember to repeat,
and how you use your time is how you spend your, you know, how you spend your time is what your life is, right?
Right.
I feel like we refer to that all the time, and the kids will say, well, repeat to remember to repeat, and there's that. So that common language is huge, and that is brought every day throughout the day. I brought one with me, an example of, let me find it here. Just one of the planning backwards. Where did I put it? One of the planning backwards sheets that I prepped for them. You know, that's a big part of the course, and using the sticky notes to plot out. And so they had to complete an assignment. So I created this sheet where they had to draw. I mean, just like exactly what you show them. And then on the back, we drew out what they're going to do. We worked backwards. And as a class, we took an actual assignment and then filled in the drawing, or the planning backwards.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. So you're using it in all the different subjects, because you're a self-contained classroom pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Some kids go somewhere else for math, and then they all go somewhere else for science.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. So let's see, parents. How are you continuing to keep parents engaged? Is that being an issue, or what's up with that?
Well, that's one of the things that we talked about, that my feeling is that we didn't do quite enough of that this year. The course notes lends itself to that when you're doing the survey at the beginning. So we did the survey in the classroom. They took it home and had their parents do it, and then we talked about it and compared that. We've included, again, through newsletters and stuff, parents have sought us out when there's been a few assignments and things that have gone home, more so the piles. We had a big time about piles, and I challenged them to go home and take care of a pile. Lots of feedback from parents on that. Parents got on board and were taking care of piles. So that's something that we need to talk about, how we're going to do that better next year, because that's, I think, the one thing in my mind, that we didn't engage the parents enough.
Yeah, and that to me was always the thing when people said, let's take it into the schools. I was like, but there's, where's the parents?
Yeah.
You know, because you as a teacher can't do all of that, because it needs to also be reinforced at home.
Right.
And then you have the apple not far from the tree situation, where some of the parents are really challenged themselves. So that's really cool, giving the parent challenge for piles.
Well,
you know
and
what you
I think having you come out, when you came out and did your talk, was perfect, because I think all of the parents got the book, the 50 tips, so they were really well versed with what we were doing too.
Yeah, yeah. You know what you can do, Gaila, next year? I don't think I talked about this in your pro group course, because I always add I add new things, as I learn new things, and and it's about the piles thing. What a great challenge would be I have them take a picture of the pile they're working on. Okay. Take a picture, set a timer. Okay, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then the first object on top of the pile, you have to ask these questions. Do I want you or need you anymore? Okay? And so if it's something that, it's like, I don't need this anymore. Give it to Goodwill. Time to be somebody else's treasure, And then the things that are in the pile that need to have a home, that's the one you keep. Okay? And then when the timer goes off, you take another picture. Okay? And you compare the progress that you made. Because when we have a big room of piles, when we're done with one pile, they take a lot of energy. And when we're done, we step back, and all we see are the piles. It's like, well, I haven't done anything. But I think it would be great to have like either a Facebook page or pictures, sharing your pictures of all the piles that you moved. I think that would be a fun thing to engage the parents in. Like garages. My husband and I, we went to a garage after reading. I told him that line about "Do you bring me joy?" That author who's from Japan. You're supposed to pick up every object and say, "Does this bring me joy?" I was like, "You don't bring me joy. You don't bring me joy." We went to our garage, and so I had this picture of this mound in our garage, and then we called 1-800-GET-JUNK, and they came and and then I had another picture of you can see the floor of the garage. My son, who's 20, just turned 30, he was like, "Thank you, Mom, for getting rid of that stuff," because he knew it would be there when he inherits it all. So it's fun to do that. That's another way you could engage them with piles. So anything you could do with getting them posting something like that, or sharing YouTube videos, all these things that we're doing, it would be really fun to see them share them. That would be really cool. So what else would you guys do differently? You've mentioned a few things, but what else would be different?
Well, we're definitely going to start earlier. I mean, the kids said that was something that they were pretty, we needed to start right away. I think one of the other things that I'd like to do is include more of the drawing in a different part, not just during EF time, because the drawing for some of the kids really resonated for them. So doing the backwards and being able to draw the pictures out, I think I'm going to include much more of that next year, and we are going to continue next year. I will also be going, because we did it for the year, and Kate has been awesome about keeping it going throughout the year. I will be going into 7th grade, at least the first month, if not 6 weeks of school. What exactly am I going to do with them? I'm not sure yet, but we've got to keep it going. We can't just give it to them and say, "You're trained in EF now, go forth." So we'll continue with that somehow.
Yeah, because what you can do is you don't have to do the book, but you can come in with another activity that's drawing your assignment.
Right.
You can have fill out their afternoon schedule. What's your week like? Where are you going to fit your homework? That kind of stuff.
That is something new we're doing next year that we're both very excited about. We designed a new planner.
Oh, show us.
The planner that they had really was not useful, and that was really interesting too. When I said, "Okay, who's using their planners? Is there a monthly calendar in your planner?" Some of them go, "I don't know."
I know, they just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we've redone.
And it was like in this weird spot. It was like, you're not going to use it. It's not there.
So we've redone it. We kind of took a little bit of Marydee's My to
That's
include
fine.
with it.
Go
So
for it. Go for it.
Yeah, and we can send.
It's a two
Two-page.
Am I going opposite here?
Oh, wow, look
Okay,
at this.
it's a so every day is a 2-page spread.
Right.
And so, am I good? Yeah.
Okay.
Your chill time. Oh, I love that. Motivation at the top.
Yeah. My
Obligated
time, my homework time. We have our circles for predicting how long they're going to take and how long it actually took.
Oh, awesome.
Over here is their evening. They need to plan.
Supplies that they need.
Supplies. Yeah. Test quiz tomorrow. Long-term assignment work. And then the other side is just the other subjects, the same idea.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's gorgeous.
So we're going to get these copied, and it's going to be in the front. They're going to have one binder next year in middle school, and it'll be the front of their binder. And so we're going to have a 2-page spread of the calendar for the month of calendar, and
and they'll have a daily. There's sheets of
rolled it out this year with 1 or 2.
Yeah, I piloted it with one of my students, and she loves it. Her parents love it, and we're still working on, what is chill time, and violin lessons, that's not chill time, that's obligated time. Like being able to distinguish what is just relaxing and what you need to be at. So there definitely will be education even for the 6th graders next year. My kids moving up to 7th grade, we'll be able to educate them on really how to use it. But we'll put this into effect with the first of the school year. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh, congratulations, you guys. That is awesome. I just love the recognition. And I love the schools. I love the fact that you're still having them estimate and then record the space of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is just, I'm just jumping out of my skin. This is the coolest thing. This is what, I love creativity, and I love just taking an idea and see people like expand on it and do cool things. You guys are just really, really amazing. So I just want you guys to keep in touch. We'll have to do this again next year and see what you do, what happened with the 7th graders, because it's really awesome. It's just wonderful. Let's see. Madeline is around if we have any other questions that we've got coming. Let's see. Anything else that you wanted to say? Do you have anything else to share and show that you brought in? Is that done? Got it covered?
Just that if people are thinking about doing this, to jump into it, it has been so beneficial. I think the kids are feeling better about, their time, being organized, being prepared. And I think the thing Kate said at the beginning too, that it's not just for the struggling kids. It's for everybody. They may be functioning really well right now, but you can never have enough tools in your toolbox. And they all took some piece of it and tweaked it to help themselves become better at what they were doing. And that's what our goal was.
Right.
Yeah, it was important, that the 2-year build up to this, I think, was so important because our staff is on board. And so with our staff being on board, they've read the books. We did, when we did the 50 tips, we did that as a book study. We teamed up and we were assigned tips, and then we acted them out or did like a little skit about each of those tips. And so building that, I keep going back to this common language, but I think it's so important just building that language even among, not for only in the class for the kids, but to have the whole faculty on board was so helpful. But I want to share a story about one of the students that our science teacher shared with me, which was really exciting. I think it's the student who you mentioned earlier, but we had a student who keeps forgetting to bring their science book to science class. And it's a transition. My classroom's upstairs, the science lab's downstairs. They have a locker to go to. There's a lot to juggle. So the science teacher said, who can help this student? Who can help this student figure this out? So another student raised their hand and said, I will. Now remember in EF class, and went through like this whole process that he learned in EF class. And it's like, that's exactly it. This is awesome. It was great. But like we're using it, but they're using it. I mean, they're learning it and they're using it.
Yeah, I know one of the feedback was a little girl who said that her favorite strategy was planning ahead by planning backwards. She goes, and I use it without even thinking about it, for other things, So they're really absorbing it metacognitively, and I think that's what you guys have done so beautifully, because it is so seductive to go through Seeing My Time and cherry pick. Take out the strategy, take out planning ahead by planning backwards, take out drawing the assignment, It's so tempting to do that, but you don't build the metacognition. You don't know the why. And I'll tell you an adult story connected to that. I'm working with a family, and they happen to be a military family, and I just finished planning ahead by planning backwards. And when we were sharing the key ideas, the dad said, in my job in the military, we do planning backwards all the time to plan operations. You start at the end result and you plan backwards. He goes, but I never thought to use it with writing papers or doing anything else. He was taught a strategy for one situation, but he'd never made the transfer.
Right.
And that's what you ladies are doing, and I am so excited about you can do that. That is so awesome. Now, there's people out there who say, we've got one question, can we get a copy of this planner? There's a bunch of people who are asking questions of that. I don't know if you want to share that with people, how we would do that. You guys, well,
we can brainstorm how we can do that.
We'll brainstorm. And we'll talk, and well try to figure out, because you're still working on it. I don't think
all finished. This is I think the 4th draft, and it'll definitely be ready for the kids. But we can all work together and figure that out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we can get that out. Yeah. It's all. Yeah. We can use it through my website or something like that. That would be awesome. We'll do another Google Hangout. You can show the final product. And then we have another question somebody asked me was, what would I recommend for preparing the teacher who will be teaching this? So, Gaila, what do you recommend?
Say that one more time.
Teachers, what would you recommend for preparing the teacher who will be teaching this? What do they need to do?
I think just really embrace it and know what you're doing, and be willing to dance and change, because as you're going through it, there were lots of times where the conversation needed to change. It may have been starting on one thing, but I could see wait a minute, we got to back up, or we need to move here. This is important. So I think just being flexible, was really important. And sharing of yourself. I remember one day I went in there and I was having a really bad day, and I stopped. I said, wait a minute, I can't do this. I need a minute. So we sat in our chairs, we put our hands behind our heads, we took deep breaths, we got ourselves centered, and I said, okay, now I think I can go on. So living it, sharing it, using the language with them.
Yeah. Do you think it was critical that you did the Pro 1 course with me? Could you have done it just by going through the workbook? I mean, through the instructor's manual?
I went through, did it with you, then I went through the instructor's manual and practiced and did things on my own, shared with different people to kind of bring it all together. And spending some time in the classroom too without teaching it, just to see how I could make it fit in the classroom. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The teachers who should teach it, should they go through Marydee's course?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you don't have to. People are doing it with the instructor's manual, but it's more work, I would think. I mean, you go back and refer to it, but
I don't think I would have been nearly as effective, and I do think I was effective. We were effective if I had not been through the course with you, because there's a lot of questions that came up from all the other people when I took the course with you too that I hadn't thought about. So I think just picking up that instructor's manual would not. I don't think you'd be as effective. I don't think the outcome would be what you want it to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tried to write it so you wouldn't need me.
Well, I think think it's the brainstorming and the ideas that everybody has together, you know, and that's what you're teaching too. So
yeah, so it really is that flexibility and how to be fun, because I think people, when the trouble with something like the instructor's manual is it's scripted, and people get anxious about scripted things. They think they have to read it from the book, you know, and then that's not real, and it's hard to get buy-in for yourself. You're not comfortable, and so yeah, your flexibility, Gaila, is really one of the key things, is just kind of going with the flow. Yeah, I never know what's going to come out of my mouth and what stories I'm going to tell, you know, because you have to go with what's happening. Now, this one more question was here so far was, were the kids on board from the start? How did you get buy-in? So people may have come in a little bit late on this or something. How did you guys get them on board?
I think what really got them on board was those 2 videos that I started with, and just talking about the brain and building a brain and thinking about, you know, how do you think? What makes that brain work? And telling them too that a lot of what they were going to do was stuff that they were going to have to teach their parents and let their parents help them with. And Kate was really good about that. As we were going through stuff, I would ask Kate something as Mrs. Chambers, the teacher, and then I would ask her, now Mrs. Chambers, you're a parent, so right now you need to not listen to this, or Mrs. Chambers, I need you to listen to this and be a parent. How do you feel about it? So them seeing both sides, I think, was really valuable.
Yeah.
And how she'd implemented it at home as a mom.
And I think too, also, that the science of that this part of your brain is not developed till you're 25. So how old are you guys? And so how many years do you have to go? And so let's use tools that will help you while your brain is developing fully. So I think that was a big part of it too.
Yeah, and that's really key language, because I think a lot of people also think that I've taught the program, they're going to be adults.
You're right.
You know, their brain is done. You know, and I think that's the hardest thing to get through people's minds, is that they need it. They keep needing it because the challenges are going to rise. So they need to be reminded as the challenges keep coming, and that what you're trying to do is really get them to stay in school, stay engaged with learning, and feel like they're capable, so that they go all the way through instead of being overwhelmed and giving up. That's the thing that I keep seeing. You know, by the time the kids come see me, I've got so many kids giving up, and it's just like, I shouldn't be giving up, you know. But they've been, you know, beat up because their brains weren't able to match the requirements. So, you know, you guys, you're awesome. I know Kate has to go pick up her kindergartner, and this is a Friday, and you guys have done this after school, and you're just angels to do this. You know, I am so thrilled. You just made my day for the next year, okay? Because you have exemplified everything I love about teachers. And you too, I just give you a big hug across town here, through the internet, because you're amazing, amazing teachers, and your kids are so blessed, and your school's blessed, and you are taking this into the world in a wonderful way, because we don't know which of those kids is going to make a huge difference in the universe. You know, it's that butterfly effect, you know, and it could be the kid you least expect. It could be the one who does the most amazing things. Okay, so bless you all. Take care, and thank you everybody for joining in this adventure of ours, our first Google Hangout. Okay.
Thank you,
Marydee.
Okay, bye-bye now.